pretty much banks weeks here in Canada, and we're getting more earnings results along with RBC and National reporting today, and it topped earnings expectations in its fourth quarter and hiked its dividend. Let's get more now from Ernest Wong, head of research at Baskin Wealth Management. Ernest, thanks as always for joining us.
Happy to be here.
Let's talk some of the numbers. What did you see in there that you liked?
So I think going into the year for National Bank, National, compared to the other big Canadian banks, they're more focused on Quebec. So they had a little bit less worries about the housing market and some of the renewal risks that borrowers might be having. But on the flip side, the concern for National is that Quebec's economy is a little bit more focused on manufacturing, steel manufacturing, and those kinds of things. So they would be a little bit more impacted by tariff-related risks to Canada. And so I think what we're seeing for National's earnings is similar to the rest of the Canadian banking sector. Capital markets and wealth management results are really driving the strong results because of the strong increase in the stock markets this year, while the consumer and commercial banking segments are a little bit more sluggish, but being offset by strong results in the other parts of the business.
And how sluggish? Concerning or no?
I think things are fairly resilient despite kind of the headlines that you might be seeing about the Canadian economy. Loan growth is still growing. I think the impact of lower interest rates is really helping the consumer and driving, preventing loan losses in that side. And I think that what kind of the bigger story here is that in this weaker economy, consumers are kind of flocking to larger banks with scale, such as National, which is one of the reasons why I think they were able to do the acquisition of Laurentian that they completed yesterday, or that they announced yesterday.
And are we getting any more details on that buyout?
Yeah, I think it's going to work out very well for National. Laurentian had lacked the scale to be able to fully service these customers, so National will be able to come in. They're gaining a great deposit base. They're able to upsell these customers to things like wealth management services that Laurentian was not able to provide, and they've expected it to be a very revenue accretive deal for them.
And of course, with that Canadian Western, how is that working out? Or what kind of results are we seeing from that?
I think So I think from Canadian Western Bank, the integration is ongoing. I think last quarter there was a little bit of concern that as they were completing the integration process, they might lose some of the commercial customers that they had, but it seems like there's no issues on that front. I think the bulk of the capital synergies in terms of migrating the balance sheet to National's methodology, the bulks of that are going to come next year. So National is going to get a capital benefit from that. And I think that's why which gave them the confidence to raise their dividend by 5% and committing to more dividend increases through 2027 as well.
And where does this leave National compared to the other big banks?
Yeah, we've always liked National. It's our largest banking position at Baskin Wealth. We think it's a very well-run bank that has continually found ways to compete, find ways to grow their business without competing directly against the other banks, as they've done with Canadian Western Bank and as they've done with the Laurentian portfolio acquisition. And we think they'll continue to do this going forward.
And where do you see the next way that they might try and grow the bank? I mean, there doesn't seem to be many other banks around that can be bought up at this point. So what's next for them?
No, I think most of it is really around organic growth, about really completing the portfolio that they've added with Canadian Western Bank, building out the wealth management services, and building out their footprint in Western Canada they acquired with Canadian Western Bank.
And overall, we've seen the results now from National, from Royal Bank, Scotiabank as well. How is it looking, the big picture? to you?
Yeah, I think loan losses across the sector are a little bit higher due to I think in general, a weaker economy weaker outlook for the Canadian economy. I think that offsetting that is obviously the strong wealth management and capital markets performance, which, like I think that's really highlighting the strength of the business model that the Canadian banks have, where even if one side is weak, it is able to be offset by strength in the other portions of the business. I think on the consumer side, I think we'll probably continue to see fairly sluggish loan growth as housing prices continue to be under pressure, offset by lower rates, hopefully reducing loan loss rates going forward.
And with everything we've seen and what we might be seeing for 2026, is this enough to satisfy investors?
For the Canadian banks overall?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. I think that one thing about the Canadian banks is that they all, for the most part, have extremely strong balance sheets. And given their fairly cautious outlook and maybe less reinvestment potential in the business going forward, I think you are seeing large share repurchases and dividend increases. And I think the one other aspect that we didn't even talk about was the potential for the banks to use AI to lower their cost structure and improve margins as well.
Okay, tell you what, we'll steal about 30 seconds. Can you do about 30 seconds on that? What your thoughts on AI within the banks?
Right. So I think TD has talked about this, and other banks have spent considerable time talking about the potential for using AI to both improve the efficiency, lower costs within their business, as well as upgrading the technical stack that they have within their businesses. Because I think for a lot of these Canadian banks, the technology platforms that they were built on can be quite old. So really being able to use AI to upgrade it and make the business more efficient is a big opportunity for the Canadian banks.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it there, but Ernest, thanks as always for joining us.
Thank you.
Ernest Wong is head of research at Baskin Wealth Management.